YouTube? Three Sons RC come back at you another bench and then bash video. Now we're going to be taking out the Arrma Mojave EXB6S today with Jackson. He's going to be taking out his Senton. Before we take these two rigs out today, quickly I want to break down 4 things you can do to the Arrma Mojave, which is arguably one of the toughest ready to run RCs out the box. 4 things you can do to this rig to make the toughest RC even tougher. This rig out of the box is super Arrma tough, right? Couple little pieces that we're going to add to this, couple little hobo mods or little modifications to the rig. How can you make the toughest RC even tougher? Let's get into this, guys. Now, out of the box, what makes this truck so tough is that there's so much protection around the bulkheads, around the towers, to the point where it's really even hard to get to the towers because these bumpers are super reinforced. The tower's way back here. We have all these body mounts and all this stuff to even get to these towers. It's really hard to mess up the bulkheads or these towers because of all the reinforcement. So number one, you got to shoe glue the body, guys. You know I'm a big fan of shoe gluing the body. Got self-proclaimed best shoe glue video on the internet. Check that out, link in the description. The video breaks down how to do really any body, how to shoe glue it. I go through a lot of tips and techniques, but basically with this body, I didn't do a whole lot. I just did 1, maybe 2 layers in some spots just to kind of toughen up what is already a somewhat thicker body. And you can see in some strategic spots, I did use some shoe glue, but didn't do the whole entire body. Didn't take all this all apart. I didn't think that was all necessary, but shoe glue would be probably the #1 mod that we want to do to this body. Another weakness on this truck is the body mounts. And I broke these quite a bit just with high-speed topples. It's very easy to break these when you're going really fast and you're toppling at high speeds. These just kind of break free. Now, these are the EXB ones. They are a little bit tougher, but what happens is this piece on the end bends down too much and it breaks. And you can put some foam down there, but what I did here, and this is kind of a quick little tutorial of how to do this, took an extra wing mount and I slid it underneath on top of the foam and wrapped it like crazy with some zip ties just to kind of make it so the body mount doesn't flex down too much and doesn't snap, because that's what causes these ends to break off, is that they just go down too much when the body impacts. So this stops it from going down as much. It still has plenty of flex, but not too much so it won't snap in the front. And in the back, I took an extra piece from another body mount. I flipped it the other way, slid it underneath just like I did on top of the foam, and wrapped it up with some tough zip ties. Next mod you want to do on any EXB or really any Mojave is you want to get these M2C Sherlock nuts. Now they got a couple more millimeters on here so you can get that second bolt on. You want to Loctite the first one and then just thread on that second one. Stops you from shredding the inside of these tires. It really helps protect your tires. You've seen them fly off in videos. This will help prevent that. And the 4th mod I like, and this is more of a cosmetic one, is that this little valance or whatever you want to call this rubber piece down here tends to break away, starts hanging, and if you have a Mojave, you've done it before. And so what I did is I just kind of drilled through a couple more spots in here, and I put some locking bolts on the front and the back, and I obviously didn't put one on the back side here because it would have messed with the tire. So I put it on the front side on the end here, and then on the back on all the inner spots. And you can see there's quite a bit more holes. I think there's only like 4 out of the box on there. And you can see I've toughened that up quite a bit. This thing's going nowhere. And that way it's not hanging off. More of a cosmetic thing, but I just don't like stuff hanging off the truck when you're kind of using it. So try that out, guys. Try out these quick mods. This is a great truck out the box. A couple little modifications make the toughest RC even tougher. But let's get out and bash these trucks. Me and Jackson's going to bash this truck, and we're going to bash the Senton. We're going to compare them. We're going to give some feedback. So enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Look, I got Jackson here. What's going on, Jackson? Hey, so we got the Arrma Senton 3S against the Mojave EXB6S. We're running that 100C packs. This is 80C packs, both Ovonic, so prop to them for sending out those battery packs for us to test out. Jackson's going to be running the Senton. I'm probably going to grab the controls of that a little bit too, and also going to run the Mojave on 6S. This thing's just an absolute ripper, and I'll list the specs here. I'll pop them up on the screen. So, hey, like, comment, subscribe. You know how to do it, baby. Let's go. All right, we're going to run these rigs. First tip, if you've never run a short course before, you can't just blast and turn your dual rates all the way up for your steering. You want to make sure the back goes off quite a bit, or else you will fishtail quite a bit. Of course, with that running at 100% 6S, this running 100% 6S, 100C packs, it's a handful. It's a different type of finesse game, right, for running rigs. So, hey, let's run these rigs. Jackson, let's do this, baby. You ready to go? This is what it's all about. Family, Three Sons RC, baby. Hey! All right, Arrma Senton versus Arrma Mojave. Why would you pick one of these vehicles? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Got the Senton coming in at 6 pounds versus 12 pounds on the Mojave. The length of the Senton is 21 inches and it's 12 inches wide, whereas the Mojave is 28 inches long and the width is 14 inches wide. So it's only 2 inches wider, but 7 inches longer. So you can see you've got some more length there. That is going to affect the way the vehicle drives. Now, neither one of these vehicles is 100% authentic rally RC, right? For something like that, you got to go with like the Track 6 UDR, where it's got the solid axle in the back. Now, for those types of vehicles, they are more authentic, but there's a little bit more price in those rigs, especially to get them to this type of bash level ready. These rigs right out the box, I would say arguably are a lot more bashable than even the Slash or the UDR, in my humble opinion, right? So what are the strengths of the Senton, right? Now, the strengths of the Senton are it's lighter right off the bat, obviously, right? That's gonna affect if you're running into things, also affects breakages. If it's lighter, it's less likely to break. Also, it's almost indestructible. We haven't broken a single part on this rig, and we have bashed the heck out of it, myself and Jackson, right? He loves this rig. He loves how he can just topple it, run it at super high speeds, run it into fences, just completely destroy it. It's safe to give to a kid, and it's just not going to be broken, not very easily at all, because it doesn't weigh much, right? So it's also a great first RC for either a first-time RCer or even an enthusiast. It flies out the box, guys. This thing on a 22 penny just flies. Its 3S is plenty for it, but you can go up to 4S electronics if you wanted to. It's also cheaper for replacement parts, right? So parts on a smaller, lighter rig, obviously going to be cheaper, so that's something to consider. What are the strengths of the Arrma Mojave? Now, with the Mojave, you're going to get plusher suspension. You get a little bit more authentic feel. Still don't have the solid axle in the back, but that's going to give you more stability, guys. So it's a little bit more authentic. The suspension's just super, super plush on Mojave, and I love that about that rig. And you can just see it on the bumps as you're running it in this video. You can see you can pull some nice backflips with it. Not that it's meant for that, but you can. And it's just super plush going over the bumps and the jumps. It's also better in rougher terrain. So if you have larger territories, you're going on construction sites, the Senton's going to struggle a little bit more in those areas because it's lighter and smaller, whereas the Mojave's going to excel there, right? Another thing too about the Mojave, you have your RTR or your EXP options. So if you want to put your own electronics in a vehicle, you're not paying for something you don't need.
There we go. Yeah, baby. Get it. Oh, dang it. I got to put some limiters up in here because this thing just keeps popping out, these shafts. Yeah, you got to have some bump stops up in here for the shock shafts, just because what'll happen is just too much compression. These shocks are really soft, so it'll pop up really high and make the drive shaft pop out. Also, more upgrade paths and hybrid options for the Arrma Mojave, right? You have more parts that you can get out there. There's a lot more aftermarket, and because of all the other 6S rigs that are out there, a lot of the parts are interchangeable, and there's a ton of hybrid options like a Kraton XL or different things that can be built, or you can go crazy like a video that I got where I have the Arrma 1/6 scale Outcast that I built off of this platform that's about 98% of the size of the Outcast 8S, but 10 pounds lighter, so you can do some cool stuff out there. But you also want to keep in mind that because it's such a big vehicle, you need more space for it. It's less of a beginner's car than I would say that the Senton is. Now, some things that both vehicles are good at. They're both lower center of gravity, so when you're going really fast, you know, you hit those topples, it's usually going to end up back on its feet. Both of these RCs are driver's cars. What I mean by that is they're not stunt cars, so don't expect a Kraton or an Outcast or anything close to that. They drive very differently. So if you want a different type of experience, hey, the Senton or the Mojave are great options for you if you want to kind of have a different kind of car in your arsenal, right? Now, what are some of the questions you want to ask yourself when deciding between the Senton and the Mojave? Because some of the things I've just brought up might have already made up the decision for you, but these are some of the other things you want to think about, guys. So what is your budget? You're looking cheaper parts, maybe you want to think about the Senton, right? 17mm hexes on the Mojave, so there's a lot more tire options on there. So disadvantages or weaknesses of the Arrma Senton. You know, it's harder to control a little bit because of the light weight of the vehicle. It's not quite as planted, can top a little bit easier, so that's also a strength, but it's also a weakness. Another opportunity is the slipper cuts is okay, but it's not as good as having, you know, a center diff in there. It's not as tunable. It works, but it can loosen up, and you got to keep an eye on it. So also, plastic shocks can leak, right? So it does have plastic shocks on there, and they're not as adjustable. So I would say that is an advantage or an opportunity with the Senton. So moving on to opportunities for the Mojave. So you basically need more space to run this rig. This thing is a beast. It's almost double the size of the Senton, so you need more space to run it. It's less of a beginner's car, right? You already have more 6S rigs. A lot of these parts are interchangeable. So you might be thinking, if I have 6S rigs, well, I can put some of these parts on the Mojave. That might be a better option for you. But here's the other thing. If you already have a bunch of 6S rigs, maybe you want to go plastic fantastic and run with a 3S rig or 4S rig for Arrma, because those parts are interchangeable. You can do hybrids on the 3S, 4S side. Also, do you have the space to run these vehicles? You know, do you want more upgrade options? You know, do you want to be able to hybrid your vehicle out and come up with some kind of creative thing in the future? If you want that, then you're going to lean more towards the Mojave. And if you're going to skate parks, you're going to BMX tracks, some of those pump tracks that you run these vehicles on, they're hard, they're cement. I would be a lot more confident running a plastic rig in those types of situations, guys. So hey, I hope you guys appreciate this video. Arrma Mojave versus Arrma Senton, they're both fantastic, both have their strengths, both have their opportunities and reasons why you buy either one. I lean more towards the Mojave,
I have big places where I can run these types of vehicles. I love the upgrade option. So I lean more towards the EXB option on the Mojave because I like to put my own electronics in there. Hey, like, comment, subscribe, put a comment down there. What is your favorite rig of these two? Three Sons RC, peace out.